Welcome to Threads of Truth, the podcast where real-life mysteries meet internet speculation. Today's episode begins with a cryptic 911 call and ends with a man vanishing in the dark West Texas plains. So, I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine you're out there, it's the middle of the night, West Texas, just vast, inky blackness everywhere. Miles from the nearest town, the sky feels enormous, almost oppressive.
Yeah, that kind of dark is something that's really isolating.
Exactly. And your truck, right? Your only lifeline, it just sputters out, dead, on this totally desolate highway.
Uh-huh.
The silence is just absolute, yes, maybe for the wind.
Yeah.
And then this terror just hits you, primal fear.
Right, that immediate gut-level panic.
You're fumbling for your phone, dialing 911, your voice, it's raw, panicked, you can barely hear yourself over the static, the wind. But the dispatcher catches these little fragments.
And those fragments are chilling.
Yes, I'm in the middle of a field. They're chasing me. Just that. Barely decipherable. And boom, you're plunged right into this mystery. A puzzle that's, well, captivated people online and haunted a family for, what, over a decade now?
Over a decade, yeah. It's like this scream in the dark that just refuses to fade away. And that scream, those fragmented words you mentioned, they're absolutely central to the case we're going to unpack today. The disappearance of Brandon Lawson.
Brandon Lawson.
He was 26 years old, my father. Vanished right after making that incredibly disturbing 911 call. Early hours of August 8th, 2013.
And you mentioned West Texas. It's more than just a setting here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like a character in the story.
Yeah.
This isn't just, rural countryside. It's vast. It can be incredibly unforgiving. Landmarks are few and far between. Cell service is spotty at best.
Yeah, notorious for dead zones.
Exactly. Help can feel impossibly far away out there. It's the kind of place that feels like it could, and in Brandon's case, maybe literally did just swallow someone whole, leaving nothing behind but questions. So many questions.
So that becomes our focus today, right? That central question that's just tormented everyone involved, in investigators, the online communities, and God, most painfully, Brandon's own family for over 10 years.
Yeah.
What exactly happened in those critical moments? What's the bridge between that frantic, almost incoherent 911 call and Brandon Lawson just vanishing? Completely.
How does a young father just evaporate into that huge, silent night?
We're going to try and examine all the threads we have, look at the call itself, the circumstances, the theories, the surprising eventual discovery, trying to piece together maybe what those final moments looked like and understand the impact this whole thing has had.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Who was Brandon Lawson before all this happened?
Right. Well, like I said, he was 26, lived in San Angelo, Texas, worked in the oil fields, which is, a tough but pretty common job out there.
Oh, a regular guy?
Pretty much. Trying to make a living, navigating family life. He was a father to 4 kids, had a long-term partner, Lawson.
And seemed really close to his brother, Kyle, part of a, what seemed like a solid family unit, just trying to provide.
Okay. Now, there's a detail that always comes up, and it seems pretty crucial for how people viewed the case early on. His history with drugs.
Yes, that's definitely part of the picture. And it's complicated. Brendan did have a known history of drug use, that's acknowledged.
But the family disputes he was using then.
Vehemently. They've always maintained very consistently that they believed he was clean, or at least not actively using around the time he disappeared.
And that's a really significant point, isn't it? Because it kind of splits how people approach this.
Absolutely. It creates this pivot point. Law enforcement initially might lean one way based on that history. Online sleuths debate it endlessly. It colors everything, adds this whole layer of complexity right from the start. Did it play a role? Or is it a red herring?
Okay, so let's go to the night itself. August 8th, heading into August 9th, 2013. Where does the timeline start?
It starts seemingly pretty ordinarily. Around 11:53 p.m. on August 8th, Brandon and Ledessa, his partner, had an argument at their home in San Angelo.
Okay, a domestic argument happens all the time, sadly.
Exactly. Emotionally charged, sure, but not necessarily sinister in itself. But this one, well, it turned out to be fateful. Brandon left the house after the argument, said he was going to drive to his father's place.
And that's about a 45-minute drive, right? South from San Angelo.
Roughly, yeah. Down a pretty isolated stretch of road.
Yeah.
Highway 277.
Okay, Highway 277, near a little town called Bronte.
That's the one, Lincoln, you miss it kind of place. And if you've ever driven that part of Texas, especially at night.
Oh, yeah. It's dark, really dark.
Desolate is the word. Scrub brush, wide open fields, incredibly dark skies, very few lights, not much sign of life at all. And it was out there on that lonely highway that Brandon's truck, a white 2002 Chevy Silverado, apparently ran out of gas.
Runs out of gas. Okay, so immediately he's stranded,
Yeah.
vulnerable, miles from anywhere.
Exactly. Compounding whatever stress he might have been feeling from the argument earlier. He's stuck.
So what does he do?
Well, around 12:30 a.m., so roughly an hour after leaving home, he calls his brother Kyle.
Okay.
And this wasn't just a calm, hey, can you bring me some gas call. The urgency, the terror in Brandon's voice was apparently unmistakable.
He sounded panicked.
Utterly panicked. He told Kyle he was out of gas, yes, but also, and this is critical, that he was being chased.
Chased. Okay, that changes everything. Did he say by who?
This is where it gets really specific and highly debated. Kyle recounted that Brandon said, 3 expletives are chasing me out of town.
Whoa.
And then apparently in a follow-up clarification, he said, it's the Mexicans in the neighborhood.
Wow. That's incredibly specific and loaded language, too.
Absolutely. Highly charged statements. You can just imagine the alarm bells going off for Kyle. Serious danger.
So Kyle immediately heads out there.
Instantly. Didn't hesitate. He grabs his wife, his kids with them too, jumps in his truck, and starts driving towards Brandon's location. He knew his brother was in serious trouble.
Okay, so Kyle's on his way. Then what happens? About 20 minutes later, right? That's when the 911 call comes in.
Exactly. 12:50 a.m. This is the moment the mystery really crystallizes. The single most analyzed, debated, obsessed over piece of evidence in the whole case.
The 911 call. And it's famously hard to understand.
Notoriously difficult. It's just this mess of sound, extremely garbled. You've got a few things working against clarity. 1, the cell reception out there is terrible.
Right, the dead zones we mentioned.
2, you can hear the wind, that relentless West Texas wind just whipping around. And 3, Brandon himself is clearly panicked, out of breath. His voice is strained.
But even through the static, you can hear the fear.
Oh, undeniably. You listen to it, even distorted, and you feel it. The urgency, the sheer terror. It's visceral.
So despite how garbled it is, people have tried to figure out what he's saying. Investigators, online communities.
Oh, immense effort. For over a decade, painstaking work, listening over and over, using audio software, filtering, trying to pull out anything intelligible.
And have they? Are there phrases people generally agree on?
There are a few key phrases that are pretty widely accepted. They form the sort of skeleton of the call. You hear, yes, I'm in the middle of a field. Then my truck ran out of gas. And significantly, there's one car here.
One car here.
And then later in the call, the desperation seems to ratchet up even more. You catch fragments like, oh, just push some guys over.
Push some guys over. Wow.
Yeah. And then a guy's chasing me through the woods. Please hurry.
Good Lord. Just hearing those phrases, it paints a terrifying picture. Someone in deep distress, actively running from something or someone.
Exactly. But here's where the real fuel for the fire comes in. It's the other stuff. The words, the sounds that are muffled, unclear, heavily debated. That's where all the theories really take root.
Like what? What are some of the things people think they hear?
Oh, it's all over the map. Some people are absolutely convinced they hear the word stabbed. Others hear something totally different in the same spot.
Okay.
Did he whisper, "Stay trooper"? That's a huge one. Because if he did, that changes the entire narrative, right? Maybe implies official involvement or something darker.
Absolutely. Changes everything.
Are those thumps in the background gunshots? Or is it just, a car door slamming amplified by the wind? Or maybe him stumbling?
Right. Could be anything.
And maybe the biggest debate, is there another voice? Did someone interrupt him? Was an assailant actually there while he was on the phone with 911?
Chilling possibilities.
These are the questions that have kept this alive. The interpretation or maybe misinterpretation of these specific unintelligible moments can spin the whole story in completely different directions.
So after that deeply disturbing 911 call, was there any more contact?
There was one final confirmed communication. It came at 1:18 a.m. His brother Kyle, who's racing down Highway 277 trying to get to him, calls Brandon's phone.
And Brandon answers.
He answers. But Kyle said he sounded completely out of breath, strained, like he'd been running hard or struggling.
And what did he say?
Just a few chilling words. I'm in a field and I'm bleeding.
Bleeding.
And then nothing. The call ended or dropped. That was it. The last confirmed words anyone heard from Brandon Lawson. Silence after that.
Wow. And just minutes later, the deputy arrives.
Less than 2 minutes later, around 1:20 a.m., a Coke County Sheriff's deputy pulls up to where Brandon's truck should be, based on the 911 call location data, however rough.
And the truck is there.
The truck is there, the white Silverado. But it's sitting kind of weird on the shoulder of the road, at an odd angle. And the engine is still running.
Still running. But Brandon.
Gone. Vanished. No sign of him anywhere near the truck. And crucially, his cell phone, the phone he just used, and his truck keys are also missing.
Keys and phone gone too. That's odd.
Very odd. And then just moments after the deputy arrives, Kyle pulls up. His wife and kid in the truck. He's expecting to find his brother, maybe hurt, maybe scared, but there.
And instead he finds an empty running truck and a cop.
Exactly. Just the abandoned truck, the deputy, and this immediate terrifying realization that Brandon is simply gone, swallowed by the West Texas night.
So they start searching right away.
Yeah, an immediate urgent search kicks off. The deputy, maybe some backup. Kyle's there frantic. They look around the immediate area, but nothing. No tracks they could follow easily, no sign of Brandon.
That's when it gets cold.
Pretty much. That initial search turns up nothing. And tragically, the case just stalled for years. No activity on his bank accounts. His phone never pinged again after that last call with Kyle. Brandon Lawson, father of 4, just disappeared without a trace.
And when a case goes cold like that, especially when this baffling, often it's the family, the community who keep it alive, right?
Absolutely. You see it time and time again. In Brandon's case, his partner, Ladessa, his family, they were relentless. They started a Facebook page, help find Brandon Lawson.
I've seen that page. It's still active, isn't it?
Incredibly active. It became the central hub for updates, for people sharing theories, organizing searches, so many private searches over the years, and just rallying support. It's really a powerful example of a family's love, just refusing to give up hope.
And the online communities, too. They really latched onto this case.
Oh, massively. For over a decade, these online groups, the Facebook page, the Reddit forums, they, along with the family, refused to let Brandon just become another statistic, another forgotten cold case file. They kept asking questions. They kept the pressure on. Their digital footprint really became the lifeline for this case.
And a huge part of that online fascination comes back to the 911 call, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That audio, it acted like a siren song,
Yeah.
pulling in amateur investigators from all over because it's so ambiguous, right? Those garbled words, the weird background noises. It's irresistible if you're trying to solve a puzzle.
Your brain just wants to fill in the blanks.
Exactly. You hear something on the edge of comprehension, and you need to make sense of it, especially when someone's life might be on the line. It becomes almost an obsession for some.
So places like Reddit, YouTube, people are really digging into this audio.
Oh, immense effort.
Yeah.
Unprecedented, almost. You have Reddit threads, Run Resolve Mysteries, the dedicated R. Brandon Lawson subreddit where people spent literally years analyzing every single second, sometimes frame by frame with audio software. YouTube channels, too, like Explore With Us, Kendall Ray, they did these incredibly detailed breakdowns, playing the audio, slowed down, sped up, filtering it, trying every trick in the book to pull out one more word, one clearer sound.
And what came out of all that analysis? Did people start agreeing on what they heard?
That's the fascinating part. Not really. The interpretations are wildly varied, often completely contradictory.
Like the examples you gave earlier, gunshots versus wind.
Precisely. Someone hears clear gunshots. Someone else hears stabbed. Another person is adamant it's state troopers.
Which, again, would be huge if true.
Game-changing. Then there's the whole debate about another voice in the background. Is it there? Isn't it? Who could it be?
So no consensus.
Definitely no universal agreement. What sounds like a gunshot to one ear sounds like a car door or wind to another.
Yeah.
And that ambiguity, that frustrating lack of certainty, is exactly why the case stayed so prominent online. It invites endless debate, endless theories trying to make sense of those few terrifying garbled seconds. The mind hates a vacuum, right? And that audio is just full of them.
Okay, so let's talk about those theories that sprang from this ambiguity, from the whole situation. For a long time, the sort of official leaning, or at least a prominent early theory, involved drug-induced paranoia, right?
Yeah, that was definitely a leading theory for quite a while, particularly from certain initial law enforcement perspectives, it seems.
And the logic there was his history plus the frantic nature of the calls.
Pretty much, you take the known history of drug use, even if disputed by family for that specific time. You combine it with the seemingly erratic, maybe nonsensical parts of his calls being chased by three guys, the specific mention of Mexicans in the neighborhood that maybe couldn't be corroborated immediately.
Right.
It's, well, tragically easy to see how someone might conclude he was experiencing hallucinations, maybe a psychotic break triggered by substance use, or even just extreme stress.
And his family acknowledged they'd considered it, even while believing he was clean.
They did, which speaks to how confusing and desperate the situation was. They had to consider all possibilities, even the most painful ones. So for a long time, this idea persisted. Maybe he just wandered off, totally disoriented, hallucinating this chase, and tragically succumbed to the elements or had an accident out there in the dark.
But then his remains are found. How does that fit with the paranoia theory?
That's the really important nuance. Finding his remains doesn't automatically disprove paranoia. I mean, if he was paranoid and running frantically, he could absolutely have injured himself fatally, run himself to exhaustion on the harsh terrain, or fallen into something unseen while totally disoriented.
So the paranoia could have led to a fatal accident or exposure.
Exactly. The question shifts slightly. If it was paranoia, what exactly was that chase he perceived? And what were the fatal consequences of him acting on that paranoid state? It adds another layer of complexity and a heartbreaking possibility.
Okay, so shifting gears from paranoia. The other major category of theories revolves around foul play. And this seems to have gained more traction over time, especially after the discovery.
Increasingly plausible, yes, especially with the later findings. The core arguments for foul play are strong right from the start, though. First, you have the raw, genuine terror in his voice on those calls. It doesn't sound just confused, it sounds like someone facing a real immediate threat.
And the bleeding comment to Kyle.
That's huge. I'm bleeding. That strongly suggests a physical injury, an altercation, something beyond just getting lost or being scared. And then there's the truck abandoned, running, keys and phone gone. That feels less like someone wandering off disoriented and more like someone interrupted, maybe forced away from their vehicle. It screams external threat.
So if it was foul play, who might the assailants have been? What are the possibilities people have explored?
Well, there are a few recurring themes. One is the idea he stumbled upon something illegal out there. Drug traffickers, maybe. It's a remote area, sometimes used for illicit activities. Did he see a deal go down? Witness something he shouldn't have?
Plausible, given the location.
Another, much darker theory involves corrupt law enforcement. That theory leans heavily on those disputed interpretations of the 911 call the potential state trooper mentioned. It's a very serious allegation, obviously, and highly speculative.
Right.
Or it could simply have been random, a tragic encounter with someone malicious who happened to be out there, an unknown assailant, or maybe the people he mentioned, the guys he supposedly pushed over.
And how does finding his remains affect the foul play theory?
It strengthens it significantly in many people's view. Finding him less than a mile from his truck in an area supposedly searched back in 2013. That raises serious questions.
Like, how was he missed?
Exactly. Was the initial search flawed? It's very possible, given the terrain and conditions. Or, and this is the more sinister implication, was his body placed there later, moved after the initial searches died down?
Which would strongly suggest concealment, foul play.
It points heavily in that direction for many. It makes you look again at those calls. Who were the three guys? Who was the guy chasing me through the woods? What did just push some guys over actually mean? Suddenly those phrases sound less like paranoia and much more like descriptions of a real violent encounter.
Okay, so we have paranoia leading to accident and we have foul play. What about just a straightforward accident or succumbing to the elements without the paranoia element?
That was certainly considered early on, too. The West Texas environment itself is dangerous. It's rugged, it gets cold at night. Even in August, it's easy to get dehydrated, disoriented in that absolute darkness.
Especially if you're already stressed, maybe ran out of gas.
Right. Could he have simply wandered off, gotten lost in the dark, fallen into a ravine, an old mine shaft, apparently there are some out there, or just succumbed to exposure? The terrain itself could have been the killer. No external parties needed.
But the discovery, again, makes that less likely, finding him so close.
It definitely weakens the wandered far-off version of the accident theory. If he was less than a mile from his truck, why wasn't he found in 2013 if searches covered that immediate area? It's not impossible he was missed, but it makes a simple accident seem less probable. And the biggest sticking point, always, is the content of the calls.
The chasing, the guys, the bleeding.
Exactly. People having a simple accident or getting lost don't usually report being actively pursued by multiple people while bleeding. His own words contradict a straightforward accident scenario. That element of a perceived external threat just keeps pulling the narrative away from simple misfortune.
And inevitably, with a case this long, this unresolved, you get cover-up theories.
It happens almost every time, doesn't it? Especially when answers are slow to come. The ambiguity of the call, the decade-long wait, and then finding the remains so close to where the search began, it inevitably fueled speculation about the initial investigation itself.
People started questioning how thorough that first search really was.
Yes. Was it adequate? Was it systematic? Were there blind spots? Or, going further into conspiracy, was the search perhaps intentionally misled? Was evidence overlooked? Maybe even deliberately?
Especially if the foul play involved someone local or someone in authority.
That's the thinking behind those theories. If something sinister happened involving someone who could influence things, maybe a cover-up explains the long silence and the eventual discovery in what seems like an obvious spot. It's often born from frustration, a lack of transparency, trying to find a reason why it took so long.
It really feels like all these threads, all these theories, they keep looping back to that 911 call, don't they?
It's the absolute anchor point. No matter which theory you explore, you have to reconcile it with those panicked, garbled words. Its ambiguity is both the source of the endless speculation and the reason the case never truly faded away.
It's like this haunting piece of audio that just draws you in, forces you to try and decipher it.
Exactly. It makes you an active participant. You listen, you strain to hear, you try to make sense of it. If we played even a short clip now with warnings, of course, you'd immediately feel that chilling effect, that pull. It refuses to give up its secrets easily.
And those secrets stayed hidden for so long, partly because of the environment itself, right? The practical challenges.
Immense challenges. That West Texas terrain, it's not just flat fields. It's dense scrub brush, thorny, hard to move through, easy to hide in, ravines, uneven ground. Finding someone out there, especially at night, even with search teams, is incredibly difficult.
And the technology back then for tracking the phone?
Much less precise than today. Cell signal dead zones didn't just garble the call. They made pinpointing his location really hard. The last known ping in 2013 in that area might have given a search radius of several square miles.
Wow, that's huge.
Compared to today, where GPS and better network analysis can often narrow it down significantly, sometimes to just a few meters. It's night and day. Those initial searchers faced a monumental task with limited tools in a brutal environment. It definitely helps explain why he wasn't found immediately.
But then, after all that time, nearly a decade, there was a breakthrough. But it didn't come from law enforcement initially.
That's one of the most remarkable and frankly moving parts of this story. February 2022, after 10 years of silence, of questions, of the family pushing, Brandon's clothing was found.
And it was found by
A private search group. Not official investigators, just citizens. People who cared, who had followed the case, who organized their own search effort, likely based on all the analysis of potential locations discussed online and by the family.
That's incredible. Citizen sleuths actually made the breakthrough.
It really speaks volumes, doesn't it? About the power of community persistence, the dedication of people who refuse to let it go cold. They found the first solid piece of evidence since 2013.
So after the private group found the clothing, law enforcement stepped back in.
Yes, that discovery prompted the Texas Rangers, the state's top investigators, to conduct a new, much more intensive and official search of that specific area.
And that's when they found the remains.
Exactly. Their search uncovered human remains near where the clothing was found. Then came the agonizing wait for identification.
Which must have been unbearable for the family.
Unimaginable. But finally, in December 2024, so quite recently in the grand scheme of this case, DNA testing confirmed it. The remains were Brandon Lawson's.
And the location? You said less than a mile from the truck?
Less than a mile from where his phone last pinged, and less than a mile from where his abandoned truck was found running that night.
That detail just changes everything, doesn't it? It forces a total reevaluation.
Completely. It blows some theories out of the water and strengthens others. It makes you ask hard questions about that initial search. And it tells us, hauntingly, that Brandon never got far from that desolate spot on Highway 277. He was close all along.
So finding him, it provides an answer, but not the answer.
Precisely. It provides closure on his location, which is huge for the family, obviously, but it's absolutely not the end of the investigation. In fact, it's the start of a new phase.
It shifts from a missing person case to
A homicide investigation.
Right.
That's the official classification now. The question isn't where is Brandon anymore, it's what happened to Brandon, and crucially, who was involved.
So the focus now is on the remains, the scene.
Exactly. Forensic analysis of the remains trying to determine a cause of death, which is incredibly difficult after a decade of exposure. Re-examining the scene where he was found for any trace evidence missed before. And looking at all the original evidence, the calls, Kyle's statements, everything through this new lens.
Does the location strengthen the foul play theories? The idea he was maybe moved.
It certainly adds weight to them for many investigators and online observers. Finding remains so close after supposedly being searched. It suggests either a massive failure in the initial search, which is possible, or concealment, someone putting him there later, which implies intent, implies foul play.
But critically, no cause of death determined yet. No arrests.
Critically, no. As of now, the how and the who remain unknown. The discovery answered the where, but the core mystery of his final moments, the actual narrative of what happened on that road, is still shrouded. The investigation continues, but the ultimate truth is still elusive.
And through all of this, the theories, the search, the discovery, you just can't forget the human element, the family.
Oh, absolutely not. This isn't just some abstract puzzle. This is a decade of unimaginable grief and uncertainty for Ledessa, for his kids, for Kyle, for his parents. Living with that ambiguous loss, not knowing for 10 years. It's a unique kind of torture.
Their persistence, though,
Yeah.
keeping his name out there, working with the online communities.
It's truly remarkable. That refusal to give up, fueled by love and the need for answers. And it highlights something important, doesn't it?
The role of those communities, the citizen sleuths.
Yeah. The fact that a private group made the crucial discovery that led to finding Brandon. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes it's that community persistence, that collective focus from people who care, that keeps a case alive and eventually helps crack it open. It underscores the strength people find in working together when official channels seem stalled.
It's just such a tragedy. A young father disappears after a terrifying call, leaving this huge void in a decade-long search that ends with finding him, but still not finding all the answers.
Exactly. It's a form of closure, finding him, but it's bittersweet because the fundamental questions of how and why and who still linger. It just illuminates the edges of a mystery that isn't fully solved yet.
Can a single phone call echo louder than an investigation, leaving us with more questions than answers even after a decade? Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Threads of Truth. Next time on Threads of Truth, we hit the road with an entire family who fled without warning only to leave their car, credit cards, and logic behind. Was it shared psychosis or something far more elusive? The baffling road trip of the Trump family is next.